Welcome back, everyone. So a fair bit to talk about today, but firstly, you're very quickly going to notice that I'm a tooth missing. No, I can't claim to have fought off 50 jihadis single-handedly, or be the Lion of London Bridge. Nothing as romantic as that. This came about, or this originates from the assault that I was a victim of way back in 2014. I'll get this out of the way, then I'll get on to the more interesting stuff. This results of the assault that I suffered in 2014, where after I'd been robbed in the street and beaten up, my dentist told me that the x-ray showed that every single tooth in my mouth from top to bottom had suffered damage, broken, shattered, splintered, root damage, everything that you can imagine basically. Over the next 2 or 3 years after that, I spent in excess of 20 grand to try and put them right, but always under the understanding that this damage was irreparable, irreversible, and that as the years tick by, all of that damage would come home to roost. Now, when I was in Spain last week, you saw the videos. Towards the end of the trip, I could feel a pain developing in my gum. Nothing too unusual for me. I'm used to having ongoing dental problems and ongoing dental repairs. It's been going on, like I say, since 2014. And it's cost me an absolute fortune. So I wasn't overly concerned about it. I thought, oh, it'll probably go away. It normally does. But by the time I'd got home from Spain, and as last week progressed, the pain was getting more and more severe, and I realised that this wasn't going to go away. So on Thursday, I tried to get a dental appointment. Unfortunately, the dentist that I've used since 2014 has recently emigrated to South Africa. Yes, even my dentist has got out. So he's gone to South Africa, and he knew my teeth, my mouth, my profile. He knew it inside out. I'd only have to ring him and tell him which tooth it was. He'd look on his records and he'd go, I know what that is. But he's gone to South Africa, so that's out of the question. So I'm without a dentist. So I rang around on Thursday to try and get an emergency appointment with, I don't know, 6, 7, maybe 8 dentists. Not a chance. Nothing for at least a week anywhere, even, you know, obviously private. So I'm paying, I'm not NHS. Who would expect NHS treatment after paying into the system for, you know, 50 odd years or whatever I've been paying into the system for? I don't expect anything off the NHS. I go private. Still couldn't get an appointment. So by yesterday evening, the pain was so severe that I either had to go to the hospital on a Friday night in Brighton or make the decision to pull out the tooth myself. So that's what I did. So the pain's gone, the tooth's gone, and I'm now left with a cosmetic issue that is going to cost me potentially an absolute fortune to put right, because the only way of repairing this is with more implants. The 2 teeth next to it could probably do with being taken out as well. So I've got a real problem again, not for the first time. But if any of you are wondering why I look like a witch doctor's necklace, that's why. Right, let's get on to the more interesting stuff. Most of you will have seen yesterday in the Sun a scurrilous report relating to Tommy and the bucket collections at the last demo. Now, first of all, I want to make it very, very clear. 2 things I need to make very, very clear. 1, I'm not a part of Tommy's official team, so I have, you know, no input or no involvement in collections whatsoever. The second thing is, the closest that I've ever got to those buckets myself is when I've put money in, and I have put money into those buckets every time one has been within arm's reach. But the accusations that were made by a certain individual have now been withdrawn by that individual, who has now apologised for saying what he said. But that didn't stop the Sun from writing this scurrilous article. It didn't stop the Daily Mail from regurgitating it. It didn't stop the Sun and the Daily Mail saying that they'd approached Urban Scoop for a comment when, after speaking to Urban Scoop, they've assured me that that hasn't happened on either occasion. So the Sun and the Daily Mail are blatantly, not only did they run a story without doing any due diligence or background checks, without any proof, evidence or provenance to the story, they just ran with it anyway. Why? Well, because it's Tommy. They can say what they like and get away with it. Now, I don't know what the legal position is with Urban Scoop and the Daily Mail and the Sun, but the problem is, it's all very well for people to say, oh, well, just sue them. Well, try suing the Sun, try suing the Daily Mail, see how much money that takes and see how far you get. So basically, these scumbags can say whatever they want about Tommy, about Urban Scoop, about me and you. They can just say whatever they like and pretty much get away with it. Now, I know that there are people, very good people, working behind the scenes to try and get a retraction from the Sun. And they may well end up getting that retraction, but if they do, it will be like 2 lines on page 10. It's not good enough, is it? And if anyone wonders why, and people often ask me, why do I continue to fight this battle? Well, the injustice is why I continue to fight this battle. The injustice of me having all my teeth knocked out and damaged, and the police never bothering to investigate that crime, leaving me with a loss of £50,000 in the robbery, and, you know, almost that again in dental repairs over the last 10 years. That's why I fight injustice, because I know what injustice feels like. And it is absolutely horrible. It is one of the worst feelings that you can have, injustice. It's hideous. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's not even necessarily about Tommy. I'll take up people's cases if I think that someone has had an injustice in their life. If I can, if I've got the time, and if I'm able, I'm willing to take those fights up, or at least highlight them. Obviously, you can't do it every time, because people write to me every day with injustices, and I see them and read them for myself. But the odd one here and there, I will try and take up. The big one at the moment is obviously our friend who's in jail, and other people who are in jail and shouldn't be in jail because of injustice. I hate injustice. I hate bullies. I hate liars. I hate cheats. All of those nefarious things that, you know, just seem to get away with everything. And the good people are always the ones that seem to suffer. It literally does my head in. So lastly for today, I want to talk about Nigel Farage and reform. So much has been said this week about reform, so much has gone on. Obviously the internal battle is getting bigger and bigger. I believe there's a coup going on with inside reform, from what I'm told by insiders. The party is literally shattered into pieces. And the only person that can put this right is Nigel Farage. Now, I know that my viewers are also split. Some of you say what I said right up until only a few days ago, that whether you love him or hate him, whether you like him or dislike him, Nigel Farage and reform represented this country's best chance of winning itself back. But the way Nigel has been behaving, the way Nigel has been talking, the way Nigel has been softening, the people that he's been recruiting and the people that he's been letting go over the last few months, tells us the opposite, that actually Nigel has become just another member of the blob, and reform is just becoming another member of the uni party. It will become the tri-party. And that's not what true reformers want. The clue is in the name, reform. We want reform. And, you know, another mistake that, well, I don't know if it's a mistake, but I think something that Nigel is very clearly missing here is that he spent the last year building up an army of patriotic people to get reform to where they are, from grassroots right up to the very top. even to the point where his best MP, Rupert Lowe, was saying everything that people want to hear. And then he turns his back on all of them. He turns his back on his core voters. He turns his back on the Patriot movement. He's turned his back on Rupert Lowe. I just don't know where it's going to end. I'm not sitting here telling you that I've got the answers. I haven't. I'm not sitting here telling you whether to support Nigel or whether to support Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe. That's your business. I don't want to split the vote. I want unity. You know that. Anyone that's watched me long enough has known that unity has always been my thing. But the one thing that the left have over us, and you have to give them credit for this, they are far better than this, than we are, is unification. They will unify. Look at the unholy alliance of the Islamists and, you know, the transgender group. They couldn't be further apart, really, when it comes to philosophy and beliefs. But for this particular cause, they come together and they stay together. Our lot, we can't even keep reform together. Unbelievable. So I'm not sure, if I'm honest, what bloody chance we have of ever winning this if they can't get their act together. Now, if I was Nigel, what would my advice to Nigel be? Well, Nigel won't listen to my advice, but I'll tell you something now. And I'm not trying to be a clever dick. But if Nigel would have answered my text messages more than 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and he'd have engaged in a dialogue with myself, and therefore I could have gone to Tommy's team and hopefully got something worked out. If Nigel would have bothered to speak to ordinary people, someone like myself, I guarantee you this never would have happened. It would never, ever have happened. And instead of reform being in the position where they are now, shattered in pieces, God knows where the party's going to go. And I don't think right now, if I'm honest, that it's going anywhere. Yes, they'll do all right in next month's local elections. But you can forget the next general election, the way they're behaving and the way Nigel's carrying on. Forget it. It ain't going to happen. The Tories are going to win the next general election. The way things are right now, the Tories will win the next general election. And it won't be with Kemi Badenoch in charge. It will be with Robert Jenrick in charge. That is the long-term plan with the Tories now. Robert Jenrick is saying all the right things. They're being very clever, the Tories. Very clever. Fair play to them. They've got a strategy. And it's working. They will let this go all the way down the line, and within 18 months, 2 years of the general election, Kemi Badenoch will get kicked out, Robert Jenrick will be the leader, and the Tories will win the next general election, and we'll be back to square one. All because of Nigel's inability to listen to anyone other than himself. That's just my opinion. You might disagree, and you're more than welcome to disagree, but that's my opinion. All down to Nigel's inability to listen to anyone else. I've got to tell you, looking at that tooth missing, it's quite funny, but it's not funny really. I've got the answer. Where's it gone? I've got a packet of chewing gum here somewhere. Next time I do a live stream, there'll be a lump of chewing gum stuck in there. Oh, where will it all end? Right, guys, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, as always. I really appreciate it. The message from me is the same as always. Unite. We have to unite. The message from me, as always, to Nigel Farage, to Reform, to everyone on the centre-right, take a lesson from the left. You're not going to get everything your own way. Nobody is going to get everything their own way. Nobody is going to get everything that they wish for. Because it's impossible to please all the people all the time. But if we carry on like this, what we're going to end up with is another Tory government that's no better than the government that we've got in charge now. Speak to you soon.